How's it going, folks? Zach from Uchu Shelf here. Hope you guys are doing good and reading lots of manga. Today, I'm going to run you guys through my first impressions of a manga that's been out for about a year now, but just got released in physical format. And that manga is Samurai 8, The Tale of Hachimaru by Masashi Kishimoto and Akira Okubo. Now, regardless of whatever level of anime or manga fan you are, you've definitely heard the name of Masashi Kishimoto. That said, if you haven't heard of Masashi Kishimoto, he's very well known in the underground manga scene, I guess you could say, creating such classic cult hits as, Naruto? After Naruto ended in 2014, the question on every shonen fan's mind was, what is next for the creator of Naruto? He had already said that he's going to take some time off, but he also said his next work was going to probably be in the genre of science fiction. Then finally, it was announced that Samurai 8, The Tale of Hachimaru would come out in 2019 in Shonen Jump, except that Masashi Kishimoto wouldn't be creating the manga on his own. He would simply be writing the story, while his former Naruto assistant Akira Okubo would be drawing it. And I did read the first chapter when it came out back in 2019, and I thought, you know what? I don't know how to feel about this. I think I need to read more. So I just kind of put it off until there were more chapters out. And then I finally said, you know what? I'm just going to wait for the first physical release. Which, side note, I did order. It didn't come on time. It's just lost in the mail or something like that. So I'm reviewing the first volume off of the Shonen Jump app. But over the last year or so, I've heard very mixed things about Masashi Kishimoto's new manga. And I thought, you know what? Maybe it's time that I dive into this myself and give you my thoughts on it. So without further ado, let's get into Volume 1 of Samurai 8, The Tale of Hachimaru. So Samurai 8 is set in this beautiful science fiction world set far in the future, where samurai are duty to protect the galaxy. The story follows the titular Hachimaru, a young boy who has dreamed his entire life and childhood of growing up and becoming a strong and powerful samurai. Unfortunately for young Hachimaru, his life is resigned to one of being hooked up to life support machines, as he was born with an incredibly fragile body. And this sadly dashes his hopes of becoming a samurai, while he resigns his life to one of life support, medicine, solitude, and video games. However, unbeknownst to Hachimaru, his body contains the soul of a samurai, a powerful one that malevolent samurai forces could come and just take at any moment and use for their own personal gain. One day, while Hachimaru was patiently and frustratingly awaiting his father's return, waiting in his house all by himself, resigned to just not being able to leave the front porch, a large Daruma comes crashing down from the sky and reveals itself to be a cat-like blind samurai by the name of, conveniently, Daruma. Now, unbeknownst to Hachimaru, Daruma has been sent out on a quest to basically find these keys to unlock what is known as Pandora's box. Now, we have no idea what Pandora's box contains, but Daruma has the feeling that Hachimaru might contain the key to unlocking this box. Now, as Hachimaru and Daruma are discussing Hachimaru's dream to, 1, not be hooked up to life support and be able to live off of it for more than 3 minutes, and 2, to become a very powerful samurai, a Ronin samurai shows up looking for a powerful samurai weapon known as the Bloodsucker, which just so happens to be residing within Hachimaru. With Hachimaru's father held hostage, the Ronin tells Hachimaru that, you know what, the only way we're going to be able to get this weapon is if you commit seppuku, and if you do that, we'll get our weapon, we'll leave your dad. Now, Hachimaru, despite being constantly frustrated with his dad, obviously very much loves him and cares for him and says, you know what, I will do this for you because I care about you. So he commits seppuku, the Ronin gets his weapon, but something magical happens. Committing seppuku also gives Hachimaru the blessing of the god of war, which in turn gives him the cyborg body of a samurai. And just like that, he's able to leave his house, he's able to go around, and most importantly, become the samurai he has always dreamed of, traveling alongside Daruma as they collect the remaining 6 keys required to open up Pandora's box. Now, looking back, my initial gripes with Samurai 8 were most likely fueled by the fact that I was comparing it to Naruto, which I think is probably unfair to do, especially in comparing just one volume of a brand new manga that's only been out for like a year to a absolute powerhouse of manga that is just well known and even known to people who are only tangentially familiar with anime and manga. While I was skeptical about Masashi Kishimoto giving the reins of the art to one of his assistants, I found that probably freed him up to flesh out the story a bit more, because I found that the world building and the world in Samurai 8 was actually something that I did enjoy. It is admittedly difficult to find a uniqueness, especially in science fiction, but he found a way to kind of mesh samurais and science fiction into just kind of this blend that, while yes, maybe it's not original, it does somehow still manage to feel unique. What I think I enjoyed the most about Samurai 8 was the concept behind samurai themselves. Now, when you hear samurai, you don't even need to be explained what it is. You think of a guy with a sword and a million guys around him, and he can just, go like that with the sword, and everybody dies. In Samurai 8, the samurai are people who have been blessed by gods and given cyborg bodies to carry out tasks specifically to protect the universe. Now, while the idea of cyborg samurais probably isn't all that unique, the way it was executed in Samurai 8 is something I found myself really enjoying and intrigued by, and I'm really interested to see where that goes in the future. But another thing I really enjoyed about Samurai 8 was the main character Hachimaru. You know, he's lived his life up until now kind of resigned to machines and kind of given up on the fact that he's ever going to be a samurai and given up on the idea that he's ever going to be able to leave the front door of his house for more than a few minutes. But in just doing what he thinks is right and protecting those that he loves, he gets exactly what he wanted. And I know a lot of people will probably complain that that's a bit of an ass pull, but I think that's exactly what Hachimaru deserves given the fact that his life up until now has not been the greatest. Now, despite this, I did have my problems with the first volume of Samurai 8. First being the way the story was written. It's not a poorly written story by any stretch of the imagination, but there was a lot of just info dumps and dropping concepts on you without any explanation. Now, a cardinal rule when it comes to writing is always to show and not tell. While that is difficult to do with a regular book, you don't really have that problem when it comes to graphic novels and manga. So it was kind of jarring to have in some panels where it was just like, here's this and that and this and that and this and that. Instead of just being shown, you don't have to show it all in the first chapter, you can show it over a couple of chapters, but that was kind of jarring to me at least, especially coming from a skilled storyteller such as Masashi Kishimoto. Also, I did have kind of a problem with the art in the manga as well. Now, while much of it was beautifully drawn, and I loved pretty much every character design that I saw in the first volume, it was hard to look past a lot of these just messy landscapes, and just a lot of the problem with the way that the landscapes were drawn is that there were very little difference in the weights between the lines. So while you'd have the character pretty much sat against the background, it looked like it just all blended together. There was very little depth between, say, a character just standing in the middle of the panel versus the background. It just looks like it all kind of meshes together, and that's not really a good technical way to do it. I don't think, at least. I could just be talking out of my ass, but I'm willing to kind of look past it, knowing that this is kind of Akira Okubo's first serialized manga as kind of the artist in charge, so to speak. Whether this issue kind of remains in further volumes and chapters, I don't know yet. And ultimately, I hate to be this guy, I think Samurai 8 probably would work better as an anime. It's not to say it's very poorly done in Samurai 8 at all, it's definitely well done to a point. It would just thrive a lot better as an anime, I think. In my opinion. I could be wrong, again, but I'm not. Maybe. So, moment of truth. Should you pick up and read Volume 1 of Samurai 8? I give you a resounding Uchu shelf. Maybe. I can see why people are hyped about this for the most part. I can see where everyone is coming from and thinking that this is the, as I've seen said on Twitter, GOAT of Shonen Jump, despite that not being true, but that's another argument for another day. I wasn't 100% sold on the first volume. I went into it thinking I wasn't going to enjoy it and came out on the other end thinking, you know what, that wasn't too bad. But it wasn't too great either. A lot of it feels very clumsy, like it's still trying to find its footing, and a lot of the problem with that is in the story. And the thing that worries me about that is Masashi Kishimoto created Naruto, which itself is a not fantastically told story, but one told well enough to be one of the biggest names in anime and manga. So to see it kind of be so clumsy and try to find its footing in the first chapter was, I don't know, it's hard to explain. I expected more from Masashi Kishimoto, I guess. Maybe the problem is that I'm comparing it to Naruto. I tried my best not to, but since Masashi Kishimoto is focusing solely on the writing, I couldn't help but compare the writing of Naruto to the writing of this, and it does admittedly fall a bit flat. But as I said, I did enjoy it. It's something I'm not going to go out of my way to pick up when it comes out, but I would definitely recommend checking it out weekly on the Shonen Jump app. I will leave links to that in the description below. You can also check it out on Manga Plus, which is from Shueisha. Again, link in the description below. So, there you have it, my review of Samurai 8 by Masashi Kishimoto and Akira Okubo. Let me know what you guys thought of it in the comments below, or hit me up on Twitter, @UchuShelf, know what I'm gonna hound you guys about. Don't forget to support legal manga. Go to www.wherecanireadmanga.com to get the lowdown on where you can read manga for free, through a subscription, or per volume, and do it all in a way that benefits the manga industry and helps us get more manga like that. But thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this review, don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, and share. Your support means a heck of a lot to me, gives me the drive to make more manga and anime related content. For you. Just you. But until next time, folks, happy reading.